one. Yes, people, we are back. You are tuned in to the best thing right now. Like the tune says itself, we are going to be jamming today. We have got a very special guest. She is the director, as well as an angel herself, from Employee Angels and the HR consultant. I'm actually quite honored by this. I'm joined by Dawn Morton. I also know her as Connor Mackers, and that's her stage name, I suppose, or Facebook name.
My Facebook name, yeah. Everybody else knows me. All of my friends know me as Connie. So yeah.
And I'll be monitoring the comments on everyone's, via my mobile. So please, if you are watching this live or you're joining in at any point, even on the replay, feel free. Ask any questions. Dawn is here to help answer your inquiries. So let's find out a little bit about Dawn first. Dawn, thank you for joining this group. And again, thanks for being a part of this group. Really, really honored to have someone of your caliber here. Let's, apart from whatever's on the ground.
Sorry, I literally just kicked over half a cup of tea. So I'm going to just get a towel and put it there. Sorry, everybody. Clearly, I'm not in an office. I moved it because I thought I'd spill it on the bed and I ended up spilling it on the floor. But here we are.
This is live. This is live. Anything can happen when it's live. Like the first time I'd ever had a child on the live at the same time, and it really was something new. So you know what? This is the first.
I've locked all of mine in the basement, so it's okay.
So we actually have mutual friends in common, and we go a long way back. I believe you was also in Stockwell too. You're a Stockwell girl?
Yes, I grew up in Stockwell, Brixton, Clapham, Wandsworth, Vauxhall, all that kind of Southwest 8, Southwest 9 area. So I went to I went to primary school with a friend of yours that we know, a couple of friends of yours that we know from Facebook. Good old Larkhall Juniors on Larkhall Lane.
Yeah. Larkhall Lane, Larkhall Rise, and all that area there. Yeah, that was the fun times in the 80s growing up in that point.
Yes. I drove past there the other day and it's totally I don't recognize it at all. Like I was lost.
Yeah, I know the playgrounds that used to be there. You remember, like the adventure playground next to the police station?
Yeah,
all turned into housing apartments, and every the petrol station that used to be there, the jet petrol station, now housing. And again, it's funny how things revolve around housing.
Yeah. Because we're having too many babies and therefore we need places to put them all. And so
and the money is concentrated in London, yes. So
yeah.
So but yeah, that's that. So tell me more about yourself. Where have you been? What's been your journey there?
So, what's been my journey? So I am a single mother. I have 4 children.
Wow.
They are all girls. I had my eldest when I was about 19. Well, I was 19. So she's going to be 22 tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm 41 years of age, and so we now live in Watford.
Right.
And I guess my journey has been a very mixed bag. I will say right here and now, I do not have a degree. Right. I had always attempted to get one, but with having children and just other things, and I was always focused on earning. That was always my thing. So sometimes I would start a degree and then work would take over, and I've done a lot of kind of different things. And then I guess so I live at home with my children. My youngest daughter has a very rare disability.
Okay.
So she is, sorry, my Ring doorbell is telling me that somebody's outside. No, it was my daughter. She teach my 16-year-old. She dog walks, so she was just messaging me to say I'm going to walk the dog now, and then I heard the Ring doorbell say that she was going outside. So
double whammy.
Yeah. So she has a very rare condition that is genetic, and so she has quite a few issues and problems and things like that. So I have had to kind of adapt my life, for want of a better word, to try and fit into that. So in 2015, I separated from my ex-husband. We got divorced in 2016, and then I started my own HR consultancy. And I'll probably talk a bit about how I got into HR in the first place. But I started my own HR consultancy, and that was business to business. So, and that's what I currently do now, because Employee Angels has only just kind of been launched. So what I've been doing for the past few years is kind of supporting businesses with their employment issues, I guess, is if they don't have in-house HR. So that's essentially what I do. And at the moment, that time is being spent a lot on redundancies, which I know we're going to talk about today. But where I talk about me getting into HR, it's funny because I went for a role as an equalities and diversities officer for a local authority. And again, I didn't really have any skill set in there. And I do have to give gratitude to the higher person, because I have a lot of my life, or a lot of the time that I've spent, has been kind of me just wanting to do something, trying to do it, finding out about it. I learn quite quickly. So a lot of the time, especially during my teenage years, I picked up things on the job. So I had my first job at 16, and I was doing data entry in an accounts department. And then within 6 months, I was an accounts assistant. And then I was it was that type of thing. I just always seemed to pick things up quite quickly and be able to kind of run with it. And so I went and I got this job. And I was doing, basically it was around equality and diversity programs for the residents of the local authority, the people that lived within the county. And so I did that. And whilst I was there for about a year and a bit. And then there was a secondment opportunity that came up in HR. And so I asked to go and do the secondment, and I went over there and I was running a project. They were changing their HR system, and it was also about getting people's details up to date, etc. And then I did my Prince 2 qualification in project management, because I thought, this is what I like. I like this. I like going in, having something to do, doing it, moving on to the next thing, just, so that there's no kind of boredom, I guess, and things like that. So I qualified as a project manager. And then from there on, funnily enough, because I'd had my daughter, they wouldn't give me flexible working. And at the time, we didn't know what was wrong with her. And so she was in and out of Great Ormond Street a lot, and all the rest of it. And I asked, can I have a couple of days working from home? And it was like, no, you can't. And that was kind of my push then to leave there. But I left there and went into HR. And so since then, that's what I've kind of done. So I've been a HR advisor. The only job I haven't done in HR is an admin. And for somebody that doesn't have a degree, I count that as quite a big achievement, because I kind of just learned on the job and then worked my way up. So I've been working in HR now for about 11 years, maybe around that time. And so I'm at the level now where I'm kind of HR manager, HR director level. So if I were to go into an organization and get a job, that would be the level that I would work at. So I worked, generally working for different companies, large companies. I've worked for in the fintech space quite a lot. So in the financial tech space, when I was employed, and I was a HRBP, I supported the different departments and did things like their succession planning, if they did have anything that was employee relations related, so grievances, disciplinaries. I did their performance improvement things, or objectives, or anything across. I'm a real sort of HR generalist, so I do everything. The only thing that I don't touch very much is reward, but other than that, everything else I kind of do. So and then obviously, because my circumstances changed and what would happen with my daughter, I was like, I need to be a bit more flexible. I need to have a bit more of my own time. And so I set up my business to business consultancy, and then I was doing that. So that was 2016. I think when I got to kind of last year, 2019, I sort of said I need to be more flexible than that. So I also sing. So I do backing vocals and session singing for signed artists. So there were times where I'd be on tour. There'd be times when I'd be, you know, and I said, I need something so that I can get my bread. And as you can obviously see, and as everyone can see now, the industry is kind of non-existent at the moment. So, you know, I would always have to or need something, and obviously I have got my children, so I can't generally do, you know, like 6-month tours. I couldn't, you know, I wouldn't do that because of how my family is set up. So I needed something that was kind of more stable. So I said I need to be more remote. And at the time, I remember I was getting quite a lot of questions from friends and family, and I would help them out, and I'd write letters for them, and I'd reply to emails on their behalf. So obviously the employer doesn't know it's me replying, but I would be replying, and they would get, you know, they would get through some of the issues that they were having without. So there were some occasions where like employers were really pushing people to leave, and I was like, okay, if they want you to leave, then that's fine, but they're going to pay you. So, you know, it was things like that that I was kind of getting called to do. So and I thought to myself, there isn't anybody that does this for employees. We have ACAS, and they obviously have a helpline, and they're very good, and their website is, you know, amazing, but ACAS are still kind of what I would say in the middle. So a lot of the things that they do and provide is for the employer. It's to tell the employer how to do TUPE. It's to tell the employer how to do redundancies. It's to, so you can call them and they would advise you, and they'll let you know if they've done something wrong. But they're so like the early consolation service, if you've heard of that from ACAS, is for people that think that they want to take their employers to tribunal, but their job is to consolate. It's to really kind of act as a more of a mediator and try to get to, you know, so you do kind of think there isn't anything that's kind of, this is your situation, this is what you can do, this is what your rights are. Let's respond with this and then see what they say. There's not, they don't, there's nothing like that that's kind of available to employees unless they go to an employment lawyer. And the cheapest employment lawyer I know is probably about £170 an hour. So unless you have that kind of money, then it's difficult for employees to actually get support to help them with low level things that happen in their organizations. And that's kind of where the idea was born. And there was a lot of rigmarole. So the Financial Conduct Authority sees the idea of what I do as a claims management service, and it's not really. So there was a lot of rigmarole with me having to get set up, a lot of red tape, a lot of things I had to go through to be able to set up and do what I do. And I think that's why nobody has done it before, because of what their perception is of what it is that needs to be done to get there.
Because again, there's a difference between, you know, you are the middle person essentially, but you're representing someone. So are you fitting in legal? Are you fitting in financial? Where are you fitting in that sense?
Where I'm at, so in my mind, and in you know, and our employee angels do not advise on claims of any kind. So if somebody has already gone through a process and they're at the end and they're like, I think I want to take my employer to tribunal, we wouldn't really touch that. So where we would kind of come in is, say for example, today your employer announces redundancies and they give you a briefing pack and it's got all of this stuff about pooling and this and that, and you don't quite understand exactly what's going on. We'll take that, we'll review it, we'll say, right, this is what you need to look out for, this is what they're saying, this is what they should do next. If they don't do this, then they might this is what you're right, you know, that type of thing. Or if something's happened within the workplace and an employee wants to raise a grievance. So say something's happened and they're like, how should I write my grievance? What should I say? So I know from sitting on the other side of it, we will get a grievance in from an employee, and when we look at the scope of the grievance, you know, I know what an employer would take seriously and what they won't. I know what buzzwords to put into that grievance letter that would make an employer sit up as to, rather than just kind of dismiss it or give you a meeting and then say no. I would know what they should and shouldn't do. I would know what documents they should and shouldn't provide to you. You know, there's kind of those sorts of things. So I would help the person. I would listen to them. And the other thing is this: somebody's got a grievance and I listen to it and I think it doesn't have any merit, then I will just say your grievance actually doesn't have any merit, and what you're likely to do is just piss your employer off for no reason. But I guess it's things like that people don't have access to. So that was when the idea for Employee Angels was born, and it was kind of last year, and I'd kind of slowly started working on it, and I was kind of slowly getting together a website and all of that thing, all of those sorts of things. But I was and then IR35 was meant to come in April. So I don't know if people don't know, IR35 is basically where they regulate people who were like me working as a consultant. So I go in, I work on a day rate, and I pay my taxes myself. They don't take it out. So the government tried to clamp down on everybody. So IT consultants, anybody that works in that kind of field in terms of taxation. So that was due to come in April. So when we got to kind of the end of last year, beginning of this year, work started to slow right down, as in the call or the need for me as a consultant to come in. I was all right because I had other things that I was doing. Like I said, I sing, I do other things, but work for me, it was looking as if I had to go and get a permanent job.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. So funnily enough, then COVID came and everything changed. So, for some people, COVID was like, the worst, and was the worst thing that could have happened. But, I think that, COVID came and everything kind of changed. And then I started to get a lot more work because employers didn't know what they were supposed to do in this lockdown and with this whole thing. And then with COVID, it also kind of just inspired me to say, we need to do this company now. We need to. And at the time I had kind of pegged it, and the website had started to be built, and I'd called it HR Helps or something. And then my friend was working on the website for me and all the rest of it, and I was like, I need to launch this now. Like, employees in a minute, because of everything that's happening, they're going to need what it is that I do and what I offer. And so so that kind of sped up, because before I was kind of working on it and I was doing it and I was saying, oh yeah, I need to do this, but later. And then Corona said, no, you better do this now. So that's where we are. So I guess it was about 2 weeks ago we officially launched. I did a webinar, which is still up on the Employee Angels Facebook page. And it was basically about what employees need to know in terms of COVID-19. And, I sort of went into the history of what it does. And, I had quite a good response actually to that. A lot of people have been supporting, but I think also because the concept of what I do is quite new, I think some people are not quite sure in terms of what I do. And I also think that there's a lot of people currently who are still on furlough. And they don't know what's going to happen when they go back to work.
If they go back to work.
If they go back to work, or if they're going to be made redundant. So I think a lot of people are kind of still in that limbo land. But I definitely think that now we've gone into September, the redundancies are going to increase, because some employers would have said, right, we'll sort it out until the end of October, which is when the furlough period ends. But if business has not picked up sufficiently to be able to manage these people that we're employing, we're going to let people go. And because of the consultation period, the 30 days, 45 days, depending on how many people they've got to go, it will be around now that those announcements will start to go out. So we've already had the first batch for people that wanted people to leave around the end of July, which is when the kind of free furlough ended, and employers then had to make a contribution to their furlough. But then we're going to have the other wave, which will be starting around now for the end of furlough, which is October 31st. And to be fair, I don't know if we get a second wave, what is going to happen. And I think, I don't think the government will be able to afford to furlough people again. And I think that on...
1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. You've just lost. We just lost you. Just hold on. What happened? Oh, typical. Absolutely typical. Someone went. I don't believe this. Okay, hold on. We'll start this again. We'll start this again. So give me a sec.
Hi.
Your sound completely went off at possible moment. It was just like, oh,
What I'm saying now.
yeah, don't worry. It was brilliant. But what I need to do, we're gonna restart this again. Let's do it via the mobiles. I think this is playing up now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
No worries.
no worries. Give me a minute.
What do I need to do?
Just as soon as I'm live, click into the video.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be on my Facebook page. So go to the group page. I'll go live on there. Use your mobile phone to click into the video that can bring you on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. See you in a sec. Bye.